Going back in time, many important events and acts have taken place that now impact our present world. The meaning of taking a stand is to express a strong opinion, whether as your personal beliefs or motivation, to share with society in order to accomplish something or make an improvement. An example of this was the president of the National American Woman Suffrage Association, Susan Brownell Anthony. Anthony was born on February 15, 1820, in Adams, Massachusetts. Anthony was the second oldest of 8 children to a local cotton mill owner and his wife, which meant that she grew up politically influenced by her family and was aware of all the working conditions during this time period. After the Anthony family moved to Rochester, New York in 1845, they became active in the anti-slavery movement. There, she developed a strong moral compass from early on and spent much of her life working on social causes that would improve this major issue. By the time she was 17, she was already collecting anti slavery petitions. Anthony later on taught in various schools in the late 1840s after moving. While working as a teacher in Canajoharie, New York, she discovered the huge difference in salary for male and female teachers, which was $10 a month for male teachers versus $2.50 a month for female teachers, and soon joined the teachers' union to fight for equal wages. At this point, she started to see the few unfair treatments and rights that were shown by society to women. In 1851, she attended an anti slavery conference, where she met Elizabeth Cady Stanton. Stanton recalled this moment in where she said, "There she stood with her good earnest face and genial smile, dressed in gray silk, hat and all the same color, relieved with pale blue ribbons, the perfection of neatness and sobriety. I liked her thoroughly, and why I did not at once invite her home with me to dinner, I do not know." This was the start of an interest for women's rights to Anthony thanks to Elizabeth Stanton, but she wasn't the only one who influenced Susan B. Anthony. It was also Lucy Stone's speech at the 1852 Syracuse Convention that was a major event that credited for convincing Anthony to join the women's rights movement. In 1853, Anthony campaigned for women's property rights in New York State, and after arguing for more petition campaigns, she wrote to Matilda Joslyn Gage that "I know slavery is the all-absorbing question of the day, still we must push forward this great central question, which underlies all others." After standing up for slavery and herself throughout all these events, Anthony was hung in effigy, and in Syracuse her image was dragged through the streets as a form of disobedient punishment to the government. In 1868, Anthony started publishing the weekly newspaper The Revolution, with the masthead "The True Republic, Men Their Rights, and Nothing More, Women Their Rights, and Nothing Less." She was even accused of strike breaking in 1869 after encouraging New York printers to hire women during a printers' strike, having hired women to print The Revolution, which was created by her and Stanton. 52-year-old Anthony traveled to towns throughout Monroe County, New York, giving a talk titled "Is It a Crime for a Citizen of the United States to Vote?" to garner support for her position. She even took matters into her own hands in 1872 when she voted in the presidential election illegally. Because of this, Anthony was arrested and tried unsuccessfully to fight the charges. She ended up being fined $100, a fine she never paid. With the opportunity to speak, during which she argued, as her lawyer had, that her rights as a citizen had been violated. She was the president of the National American Woman Suffrage Association from 1892 to 1900, and appeared before every Congress from 1869 to 1906, the year of her death, to ask for passage of a woman's suffrage amendment. Anthony argued that it gave women the constitutional right to vote.
Trial was such a travesty of justice that it's really unbelievable when you consider that it was Susan B. Anthony, who was very well known across the country already. There was a former president of the United States in the courtroom, Millard Fillmore, and there were congressmen. But anyway, even though this was a situation of these very important people in the courtroom and the eyes of the country on the courtroom, still Susan B. Anthony was not allowed to speak in her own defense.
Upon her retirement in 1900, she left her supporters with the final words, "Failure is impossible," but it wouldn't be until 14 years after Anthony's death in 1920 that the 19th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution, giving all adult women the right to vote, was passed. Nowadays, as a thank you, the National Susan B. Anthony Museum and House is located in Rochester at her home. It is registered as a National Historic Landmark. Susan B. Anthony, a remarkable woman, citizen, and human being, whom died with the satisfaction of knowing that she tried everything to accomplish and improve not only a racist but sexist society, in where the amount of people affected only increased with major problems. Standing up for what she believed in not only gave us women a voice in our government but also a reason to believe that we're worth enough to have equal rights, treatment, and to have pride in our country and ourselves. I myself believe that Susan B. Anthony has had a massive impact in our present world. Because of her, not only are women given the same fair equal rights as men, but they are also able to represent and honor this country, fighting in the army, involving themselves in.
So when I come here with my I voted sticker and place it on Susan B. Anthony's gravestone, it's just kind of like meeting history in its place. And Susan B. Anthony never got the chance to vote in her lifetime. And so it's a way of being like, look what legacy you have left for us.
Susan B. Anthony, in her 86 years, probably progressed the world more in one century than we'd seen in all the centuries before. It's probably the best tribute you could offer to Susan B. Anthony at her gravesite is to say, I went out and voted today.